All right, everybody. NCAA tournament edition of Inside LSU Women's Basketball. Mike Scarborough here with TigerBait, and of course Emily Ward, former LSU basketball player on the national championship team, and a lot of excitement. A full day on Friday for media. We get the whole. It's really an exciting time because you get all the player interviews in the locker room. Certainly, you have you get your couple of players that get to appear for press conferences. But my fun part is actually going in the locker room and interviewing the other players that a lot of players that you either don't get to hear from all year long or don't get to go up on the stage very often or ever and getting their feel for it. And we get all those teams tomorrow. We get 15 minutes of each session of practice on the court. And, having been through multiple of these now at LSU, they really do a fantastic job. The NCAA brings out a group. And I think, Emily, that the same group that does it every year, they come in from out of state. I think they send the same group of people to the same destinations, or maybe it's my understanding that the people that they use request to come to Baton Rouge. And so it runs like a Rolex watch. It really does.
Yeah, I know. So I was with the communications department last year during the tournament, which was crazy because I went from playing it into all the behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, they'll bring in people to set up the press box, set up the press conference room. All of that stuff is outside people, and then of course you have students or grant SIDs, whatever. They'll help with bringing the teams in, making sure they're on time with the press conferences, picking the media out when it's time to go, when it's been 30 minutes or however long y'all get. But yeah, I actually was I was the person that ran the press conferences last year at the games. So that was kind of fun. And by ran, I mean I literally just passed the mic to people.
Yeah, and then you had Victor Howell up on stage, and
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of been the MC of those, and he does a great job. And but it's really kind of tricky and we're kind of doing some inside baseball stuff here, but it's kind of tricky because the interviews with the players in the locker room is happening at the same time as the head coach is up on the stage. So
Yeah. You
the
either pick one
NCAA,
or the other, yeah.
right, and so the NCAA is the only camera in the room filming the head coach
Mm-hmm.
and the couple of players that are brought up. So the
Yeah.
media, local media, and any other media makes the calculation. Okay, I'm heading to the locker room because that's where I can actually video my own stuff and get
Mm-hmm.
interviews that's unique, and then hope to get back in time to actually talk to Kim.
Yeah.
And so, but anyways, that's a little bit of some of the stuff going on. And of course, everybody knows that we've been complaining all week about the 9:15 tip off Saturday night. And you know, look, you've been on the team. You see it. You and I kind of alluded to it. The NCAA and whoever's on the tournament committees and all that stuff, and whether it's ESPN talking heads or who's voting for coach of the year, they're never going to do Kim Mulkey or LSU any favors or do them right. And I'm going to be real curious to see if it goes as to plan, and it's LSU Florida State on Monday. What time they do that one? I jokingly said they'll probably do a 5 o'clock, so everybody's stuck in traffic and can't get there on time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the average, in not taking a slide at any of the viewers tonight or season ticket holders, but I mean, a good percentage of LSU's fan base that are season ticket holders for women's basketball are probably 55 and up, right?
Yeah.
And so I can imagine, and Kim joked earlier in the season about she saw all the people leaving early, and I took names, and you're all in trouble. She's going to need a couple of legal pads because I think
Mm-hmm.
if this one goes to form and LSU takes care of business and it's a runaway, people are going to head for the exits because it's going to be late.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, when they announced the time, I was upset when they said Saturday, Monday, because I'd much rather Friday, Sunday. Um, but then they said 9:15. I had 3 people text me and was like, "Did you see the game time?" And I was like, "No, I haven't looked." And I saw 9:15. Let me tell y'all, it's hard to play 8 p.m. games. Never mind 9:15. That is late to play, because the whole day you're just and the whole day is devoted to basketball, obviously. but you're just like, come on, let's go. Especially for NCAA tournaments, like this is what you've been waiting for the whole season. This is it. But yeah, I mean, I 9:15 is late for me. I'm normally kind of like getting ready for bed at that time, but I do think that hopefully, if all goes well, we um have a big margin between the scores, and hopefully not many people leave, but I can definitely see people leaving.
And by the way, and then so on Sunday, it's a full slate of events as well.
Mm-hmm.
You got more press conferences because
Yeah.
they make this stuff is all mandatory for coaches and players.
Mm-hmm.
It's all structured. The NCAA controls it, and you know, Kim, if this was a normal season, she talked Saturday night, and you better ask her questions about Florida State then, because you're not getting her Sunday to talk about Monday. But
Yeah.
that'll
You have
start up again on
yeah.
Sunday. So
Yeah,
those,
when we went in the Final Four, we always joked about it because we were like, we spent more time with the media than we did on the court, pretty much. Like, because
yeah.
after the further you get, the more time you get with the media. And I think wasn't it like 30 or 40 minutes after the game where we like could not like we had to let the media come in and talk to us. So
Well, I kind of wanted to send Grant a text or an email and jokingly say, I wish the NCAA ran the program ran the show all year long, because then we get Kim much more than when we do. But
yeah.
yeah, that's there you go. That's a show for another day. All right, San Diego State. You and I talked about it. Not a whole lot to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 25-9 record. They won the Mountain West divisional championship game. And the last time LSU and the Aztecs met in the NCAA tournament was in 2012, and LSU won that game. So, yeah, and they're on an 8-game winning streak. I looked at their scoring, and you've got two players that score in double digits. Veronica Sheffy at 11.4, Naomi, and boy, I'm going to butcher it. Naomi Pangan Iban, 10 and a half. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 other players that average 6, 7, 7.5, 8.8, 9.8. So look, LSU is going to do what they do. And of course, we'll see tomorrow when we get the first 15 minutes of LSU's on the court. And we'll all be looking for rust on Flau'jae and Aneesah. And we saw them Sunday night courtside in the boot. And of course, I'm sure that's just wear it as long as you can. But Kim said, days before that they were 100%, and
Yeah.
they're ready to take care of business.
Oh yeah, they'll be fine. Flau'jae's been resting. I know Aneesah had that very scary injury in SEC tournament. Luckily, it was nothing major. But they'll be ready. So I know they're not going to miss that game unless there's no other reason or option. So.
All right, hit that like button if y'all enjoying the show. Let's dive into some comments. King Leon Crown says 3 said has always been good for the LSU Tigers. Kim said that as well, and I think they can get to the Final Four again. You know what, Emily? You and I have talked about it almost every week. If they get the draw, I like their draw.
I do too. I do too. At first, I was like, "Ooh, I don't know," but then looking at some of the other brackets, like I'm okay with ours. I'm okay. Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at it and you're like, can Ole Miss do some damage?
I have Ole Miss going far. Yeah, I have them winning. Sorry.
You got Baylor up there as well, and it's kind of like, could something happen there? Because I've always wondered in the last 3-4 years how they haven't tried to be a little side-eyed and try and line Baylor up with LSU.
Oh yeah, I thought they would do that the first year, and they didn't. I was shocked by that.
Right.
I have Ole Miss and Baylor playing against each other, and Ole Miss beating them. Actually,
have gone from
Ole Miss plays hard.
Yeah. I've gone most of this season thinking Sweet 16. Maybe even could they lose in the second round, like first year to Ohio State? But now I look at that bracket, and I think, look, I think Elite Eight,
Yeah.
and then you never know from there.
I think with them playing NC State earlier this year and beating them by however 20 or 15, whatever it was, I think I'm not overconfident, but I like the chances. I know it's two totally different teams and it's hard, but I mean, I know it's hard as a player. You're like, you want to be like, oh, we've already beaten them, like, let's go. But two totally different teams, like,
Right.
this is it. Like, you either win or you go home. So, and I know then on the flip side, NC State's like, okay, they beat us earlier, time for revenge, kind of. And I know they even talked about that at the selection show, like having the matchups or the rematches or whatever. So,
Well, before they announced him, Kim was kind of talking a little bit, and I was talking to her something that you and I talked about last week about, getting there because of elevation
yeah.
and getting there as soon as you can. And she goes, "Well, that's all dictated by the NCAA. If you wanted to
Yeah.
get over there a day or two early to get more acclimated, that it all depends on you don't have the option to choose when you go." So,
I mean, I think if they were to play, they win the first two games. They play either Friday or Saturday. I feel like if they play Friday, they'd probably leave like Tuesday.
the earlier the better.
Yeah, if they play Saturday, then probably Wednesday. I don't think. I mean,
Get-
they're
get-
not going to go up there the day before. Maybe probably the day after.
right, right. All right. Let's see. Got a bunch of Go Tigers, Alonzo Johnson and Chicago Cheetah. Let's go LSU Tigers. Win Tigers win. Hello, Mike from Montgomery, Alabama. Glad to have you with us, Kevin. Also from Alabama, Alonzo Johnson.
Okay, got some
Wesley
Alabama.
Williams. Wesley Williams says, without the bench, LSU's not going nowhere. Bench is the key to the championship.
I agree. That's with every team too. Like once you
Yeah.
step on the court, you got to perform.
And it could be Miracle. It could be KG. I sure like some of the moments we've seen out of Miracle in the last month. Wesley Williams, bench surprised me against Texas. Looked good, but they weren't not consistent. I like the way that team performed shorthanded against Texas. In Chicago Cheetah, I love this draw for LSU. Morrow, Johnson, Williams, only consistent players. I'm not going to argue with that. But, this is tournament time. You got to have people you have to have players that do things that you haven't seen here and there.
I mean, I think I know I keep going back to the championship year, but like we won that game because of our bench. When Jazz got in, hit all those threes, Poa, Samaya, and Kim will say it, she literally was like, they're the reason we won. So I think big players just got to step up and play big. So you never know.
I would have loved to have been in Kim's head when Carson was hitting all those threes.
Oh my gosh.
Because that was basically we're in foul trouble, and we just got to hold on and not let this thing get away from us.
Yeah.
And then Carson just makes it to where it made the team untouchable going into halftime. Unless you totally imploded in the second half, you were on your way to a title.
Yeah. And we kept it going.
Yeah. T. Baker Jr. Smith gives a hi, Emily. LSU to the title game, says Pharaoh X. And Kim knew she didn't have a bench 2 years ago and haven't fixed it, Wesley Williams. Look, you went out and got a lot of transfer portal kids that had done some big things. And, when they gotten those transfer portal and Day Williams and Miracle and KG, it was like, you would have thought amongst those three guards, you would have had a bona fide starting point guard that was going to, and it just it's been a struggle.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you don't go into the season like, okay, well, these are going to be our starters and we have the bench, but they're not going to perform. Like you don't know how they're going to react, how they're going to fit into the system. I mean, I think we have a good bench team. We just haven't had it to where they all collectively are consistent, like someone said. I mean, yeah, I think they just got to be ready for the game.
Well, and what's funny is in December, early December, and particularly after a couple of the tournament games out of what was that, Bahamas,
Mhm.
wherever they went, it was kind of like, man, is this the deepest team she's had? It was,
Yeah.
you were thinking, but it didn't materialize any further. Amy Simon, I watched that game on YouTube the other day. Wow, still gives me chills. Wesley Williams, a lot of hot players have entered the portal. Kim, if you're listening, plenty to grab. It's going to be a very important transfer portal.
Mhm.
But look, that's for everybody. It's every sport.
Yeah.
It's going to be for Coach Mulkey and her staff, as well as Matt McMahon, obviously. Shout out to Will Wade getting
Yeah.
that win.
I called
And
it too. I picked them winning.
on his way to NC State, and I'm happy for him. But the men need to get it together here at LSU. All right. We're here each and every week because of Dykes Electric, and of course, they're the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. So no matter how big or small your electrical needs may be, Dykes is wired for success. If you need a brand new 10-story office building, they can wire that. A 200,000 square foot warehouse you need built, they can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building, they can wire that. Changing out a breaker, upgrading old lighting in your home or office, a whole electrical panel, or just a receptacle in your home or office, they can wire that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180, for a free estimate on your project. Make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in, and locally owned and operated right here in Baton Rouge, a big group of LSU fans, and a fantastic Louisiana company that you should do business with. And again, tell them TigerBait sent you in. What are you looking for most to this weekend, Emily? Like, what are you looking for, or and what do you think practice was like this week, heading into it, and particularly with Morrow and Flau'jae coming off those injuries?
Yeah, I mean, I think when they were injured and kind of sitting out, they definitely took it slow, probably just did a lot of stuff on the bike, kept their cardio going. Not much so contact, um, like scrimmage wise, but they definitely wanted to keep them in shape, keep them going as much as possible. I think once they were healthy and as that was going on, I think the girls probably first like took it slow a little bit, got some rest, then like full pedal to the metal, kind of like you got to practice hard for at least a few days. Got to practice hard, and then of course when they got the seed or their draw, you look a little bit over the first team, look a little bit for Florida State, just kind of you don't completely focus on the team. You practice what they're going to run, but you don't really say like, okay, they're doing this set. You don't focus on their sets. You just focus on like, okay, we're going to work on transition defense because maybe they're good at transition offense, that kind of stuff. So it's very like broad picture drills, but I definitely think they went hard for a few times and a lot of individual practices too.
Well, it's just I was kind of talking to Coach Starkey as soon as I arrived at the PMAC Sunday night, and man, he's awesome. But
Mhm.
he nailed it. I was dropping names of teams that could have been sent here, and the first team out of his mouth was Florida State. And
Wow.
so Kim, in her press conference after the show, um, talked about, Bob's already breaking, knows who the teams are, and he's breaking it down. I'm gonna know more about San Diego State and Florida State, and uh, so when she says that, and Bob comes back, and y'all and the team comes in for practice or film work or game planning, how detailed is it? What is it? Or have you ever sat in with him when he's doing any of that kind of work? Have you ever seen
Oh,
that kind of work
it
being done?
is all detail. I mean, the way that his brain just breaks down every single thing that every player and every play that they have. It's just insane. Like he can be like, okay, they're gonna run this play when they're up by this many points, or like do this when they do this. Like he knows, and he's watched so much film that he can tell you right away. He knows all the personnel. Like, okay, they're gonna when they're tired, they're gonna do like a 2 dribble pull up, or like if they, when they run off of this play, they like to go right and then spin left. Like he knows everything. He watches hours of film, like
So
for every single team.
so have you ever sat in with him when he's doing that? Like when he's getting it prepared for the team? Like, I mean, or is that it's always like you
No, it
just
was
get
always
delivered the
like,
final product?
yeah, it was always like film after. Like we would watch like us playing, like or specifically me. But like I never was like there with him when he was prepping, but just I
So
mean,
so when that happens and he delivers that plan, and then the game happens, and you see that, you're like, he nailed it.
oh
Like
yeah.
they did what
Hmm.
he said they were going to do.
Yeah, or like
So going forward, you buy everything he sells.
yeah.
Like there's no
Yeah.
debating.
No, or I mean, one of the biggest things too is like what we're gonna do on screens. Like when we get screened, are we going over? Are we going under? Are we hedging? Just different options, and then he'll be like, like when this person has the ball, this is how you're defending it. I mean, sometimes it's the same for the whole team. Sometimes it depends on personnel, and I think that's when he gets the most pissed is when you mess up that screen and they end up scoring because he's like that. Like in players' mind, that's kind of one of the easier things to think about while you're defending someone. And so when you're at the top of the key guard and the point guard and you go under instead of over and she shoots a three in your face, then you're kind of it's just very all open. So
So I'm going to go back now. SEC tournament, and he's running the team because of Kim losing a dear friend. And he's going zone. What was going through your mind when you saw that zone when he was doing zone? Coach, do you think it's always like he wants to do some zone and that Kim's so man to man? Like, was there like any? Did you giggle at all about it? Like, and they were successful with it.
yeah, I mean, I think yeah, Kim is not a zone person at all, a zone coach. So he might have just was like, hey, our three
I'm going to show
starters,
you.
our
You
three
give me
are
my
out.
chance, and I'm going to
So
show you.
yeah, like might as well try it now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how he feels about zone. But he is a good man-to-man coach. I mean, I'm assuming with NC or not NC State, Florida State. I know they are like top one or two offenses in the country. They score a lot. So I'm assuming they'll probably go over screens because I know they can hit the deep ball, but we'll just have to see. So
Well, Kim has said publicly that she enjoyed kind of being sitting further down the bench.
yeah.
Uh, but I think probably one night was enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's funny because we would like be watching it, and then of course she can't sit down the whole time. So we're like, okay, look at her, like she's getting back into it, and then she'll be like, okay, let me sit. It was just funny, her going
You
back
know
and
what she
forth.
told me? I don't know if you noticed this stuff, but she told me the top that she was wearing Sunday night, that leather white piece,
Mm-hmm.
she wore that when Baylor beat LSU in the Final Four back in the day, and she was all excited because she could still fit
Wow,
into it.
she could fit it.
And so she told me that, but I wonder if anybody out there would have remembered that, or maybe some Baylor fans who still follow her. I wonder
Yeah.
if any of them recognize that.
Hmm. Interesting. I don't know.
There you go. There's a little
I'm waiting for her to wear the all blue suit. I remember that from Baylor. The power
yes.
suits.
I think
Or the
someone brought that
bright
up.
pink. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of told her that she should wear hot pink more. When she wore hot pink early in the season, it like
Mm-hmm.
all the as a guy who shoots photos and videos at times, that really looked good for her in photos.
Oh yeah, the contrast.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. LSU will beat Florida State, says Wesley Williams. I got LSU in the Final Four. He also says LSU going to have to face UCLA. a UCLA team that beat South Carolina earlier in the year. I'm ready to see how well the Tigers walk in defensively. And Starkey led the bench against Texas. Awesome. He can coach. And I know Kim is pushing for him to be in the Hall of Fame. And he's got serious basketball IQ. Yes, he does. I thought the Tigers defense looked great against Texas. Our offense was just a little trouble. That's true. It's by the way, y'all hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. And if you hadn't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and notification bell. We're going to have a ton of Baton Rouge regional video loaded to this channel in the next 4 days. We're going to have it all for you right here. Florida State. Everybody wants to talk about Latson, and obviously he's a 5'8" point guard and can do it all. Averages right at 25 points a game, 24.9. Mikaylah Timpson is 17.6. Omara Gordon, it's 16.2. And so it's almost like they have their own version of the three-headed monster like LSU has. And then you got Sydney Bowles that averages 10.5. So they've got three players that their stat lines are kind of in the same vein as LSU's.
Yeah, I think that the second round game is always hard because it's not the first round. Like when we won, we played Hawaii. Then we turned around and played Michigan State. And I don't know if you remember, but we kind of destroyed Michigan State when they came. And everyone thought, like a lot of people had us losing to them in that
I
round.
remember.
So it's hard because it's like a 6 seed playing a 3 seed, but sometimes the 6 seed's not really a 6 seed. They should be higher or they should be lower or whatever. And then you get like so jittery because you got past the first game, and like if you win this, then you get to the next, then you get to the Sweet 16, and you get to go to Spokane or Birmingham, wherever you got placed. But I mean they're just going to go out there and handle business. Florida State doesn't really play a lot of defense from what I have seen. So I think if we can take care of the ball, score the ball, take good shots, and then just stop their big three, I think we should be good.
So what is your prediction after you looked at the bracket? Did you fill out a bracket?
I did. Filled out multiple, actually.
Okay, but the one that you believe in the most, how far do you have LSU going?
Oh, championship winning.
I like it. I like it.
I think because I had them playing UCLA, I think that will be a difficult game just because they have a ton of they have good bigs and we kind of not struggle, but we don't have Angel this year or Tay when we played them or whoever. But I think that'll be a tough game. But once you make it to the Final Four, I mean, who knows what will happen?
Kim Mulkey wins a national championship with this team, Emily. She's coach of the year.
Oh, easily. Yeah. So, and then I had them playing NC State in the next round, or the Sweet 16, right? Yeah. But they're very guard heavy. So it's like you go from guard heavy and then you switch your mindset to post heavy. So that'll definitely be a challenge for them. But I have them winning. And if not them, then I had UConn winning.
There you go. Let's see what else I need to get through here. I think you guys, we're going to be here for a couple more minutes unless you guys give us some questions or comments and we'll get them up and talk about it. But any other thing you want to add before we cut out of here?
I don't really think so. I think it's just an exciting
I think we covered
time.
everything. It's time.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we've been talking about. This is what you've been preparing for the entire season. It can be stressful and you can be very, very nervous, but this is exciting. You get a bunch of gear. You get to have, of course, talk to all the media people. You get a lot of photos taken of yourself. I mean, it's a fun time and just, I don't know.
So
always be nice to the girls.
You have this being more like 23 and not like 2022.
Oh yeah. Oh no. They're going further than we did in 2022 for sure. They're going 23
I've seen
all the
so many
way.
parallels with 2022. You know it. I say it every week. Different team, obviously, different as far as the way it's done. But that team had some issues and obviously an injury, a key injury. But I don't know.
I mean, I think
But I have Elite Eight. I have Elite Eight right
okay,
now.
with UCLA, yeah. I think if Lex did not get hurt in 2022, I think we could have been at least Elite Eight.
I think
I'm
that
trying to remember who Ohio State played, but I mean, I
that
definitely think we would have gone further if we were healthy.
oh
For
yeah,
sure.
I think could have absolutely went the same. Could have been Elite Eight. Elite Eight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I will say that I do, since this team is healthier, I'm hoping they go at least to the Elite Eight. So yeah, we'll have to see though.
All
They
right,
got it.
Amy Simmons says, "I like this team. Tigers trio versus Florida State trio is going to be a great game. I agree, and hopefully they give that game a very nice tip off and make up for what they did Saturday night and put that game at 7. You know, if you're going to have to play around and be cute about it, maybe you do a 6:30 or 7:30, but you put LSU in that window and make up for that baloney Saturday night. That's
Yeah. I will say I feel like since we got the latest slot on Saturday, I want to say we also will get a pretty late slot on Monday. I think that's kind of
but
how.
how late do you do it when it's a Central Time Zone team in LSU and then Florida State and Tallahassee, an Eastern Time Zone team?
Yeah.
You know, it's they can argue, well, we did that because San Diego is a West Coast team. I don't know. I don't know that you can make that argument for Monday night.
Yeah, I don't really know how those times are decided. I do hope that Monday it's a little. I mean, I would love for it to be after I finish work, but hopefully it's not right at the 5 o'clock mark.
Yeah, my thought was that they would try to stick it to LSU and give them a 5 o'clock, so half the fan base is stuck in traffic trying to get to the arena after leaving work early.
Yeah, I'm hoping like the nice 6:37 slot is open, but I guess
Yes.
I don't know. Do you know when they release that? I don't know when it'll.
It'll be once the games are all locked in. Maybe
Okay.
find something out late Saturday night.
Okay. I have a meeting in New Orleans on Monday, so as long as it's past 3 o'clock, hopefully.
Yeah,
We'll have to
no,
see.
you'll be fine. You'll be
Yeah.
fine. Let's see. Here we go. Beat the Aztecs as Alonzo Johnson. TBG bets refs calling the game fair and correct LSU all the way. Ashley Field says, I feel like LSU gets disrespected. Do you feel like they get Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Ashley. They get disrespected. You know, Kim is a lightning rod, and why I don't understand. I mean, I do understand, but that's what makes her so great. I know she's the press conferences and people always trying to parse her words and figure out a way to write a negative column about her, greats on her. But she's the draw. I mean,
Yeah.
look, I can tell you from my YouTube channel and the analytics I get and it YouTube, Google Analytics are amazing. And I see all the states that the views are coming from and even out of the country. She is a draw for women's basketball fans all over the world.
Yeah.
And so, look, you can hate on teams because they're successful. You don't like the New England Patriots under Belichick and Brady. You're tired of the Chiefs, whatever it is. But yeah, they don't do her any favors. And then I really hate that part for her. And
Yeah,
you being a former player, I know y'all see it. And They paint with a broad brush, and like she said before, when you find ex players that might have something negative to say, well, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's going to happen in every sport.
Well, and I feel like too with Kim. Well, I guess it's kind of every coach, but someone will get information about an ex player or something that Kim did or said or whatever, and then they get in their mind that she's this horrible person, and then no matter what she does, they're automatically like, oh, she's doing this because she's a bad person. Like, she'll make a joke, and obviously she meant it as a joke and didn't mean anything, but people don't perceive her that way, so they're not going to take it that way. I don't know if
But
that
she does a
makes
lot of
sense, but
things. She does a lot of things for people that doesn't get reported on, and takes care of people. And yeah,
I mean, if you ask anyone that actually knows Kim, I mean, besides maybe a few ex players that maybe didn't get along with her or whatever, but I mean, she cares about her players, she cares about her stuff, and she cares about her family, and that's about it. Like, she
look,
doesn't have any social media. Yeah.
Emily, there's not a successful coach in any
Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban. I mean, I can rattle off a dozen former LSU football players who couldn't stand Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And were vocal about it. And some of them were even starters.
Mm-hmm.
But if players don't have the career that they want, or they felt they should have played more, or this or that, you're going to get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't coach that many years without having some of that. It's just the odds, the math of it.
You got to have a ratio in there somewhere.
And so if you've got an agenda and it's your job to make a negative story about a coach, and you're going year by year looking at somebody's media guide and reaching out to each one and trying to find a negative story, it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
It's just not. Harvard could be a team to upset someone. I think we showed that our bench can do in the face of injury adversity. They can still battle. I think our depth is impressive, Bridget Redlich says. Amy Simmons, Saturday night is advantage San Diego. That's their time slot. Not fair. You play in our house. You come to our time. Yeah. But it also messes with their sleep patterns as well. So
yeah,
there's a little bit of both. And LSU has played their share of 8 o'clock games for years. It's a little bit later. I get it. But I think the extra adrenaline of it being NCAA tournament time can help.
Mm-hmm.
That game's going to be out of hand at halftime.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, you kind of just have to deal with the time slot that you get played. There's no changing it. So you kind of just adjust to it. I mean, San Diego State has probably been here a few days now, or like got here yesterday, whatever. But I mean, they're gonna as an athlete, it does take a second to adjust, and it is a later time slot for us. But I mean, you just kind of have to do it.
Community Coffee will usually sponsor a game, each season, and you can go on the concourse and you get free community coffee. This ought to be a community coffee game.
Yeah.
Just to keep people there and awake. And so maybe this ought to be a challenge to all the fans, particularly in the demographic my age and up. Let's see who can hold out the longest and stay the entire game.
Yeah.
Because Kim's watching and she's going to write your name down if she sees you leave.
She'll personally talk to you.
Chicago Cheetah, I believe LSU Tigers, in my opinion. I don't see why the team can't make the Final Four or even win a championship. So he agrees with you, Emily. Any info on Florida State sold out its allotment of tickets? I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. Ashley Fields, I'm going to nap so I can be up for the game. And there you go. All right. Well, I think we covered it. And we'll be back next week talking about LSU on their way to Spokane, Washington. Are you going to that one?
No, sadly, I'm not. I have
I've
work.
heard about some of the airfare, some of the air.
Yeah, it's expensive. Because I looked. Yeah,
the connecting flights to get there.
It's not an easy way. It's not an easy place to get.
No. All right, everybody. Y'all do me a favor, hit that like button. Emily, thanks again for another great show. We'll do it again next week, and it's gonna be a fun weekend in the PMAC. And if I think there's tickets still available.
Yeah,
I could
there
be
should
wrong.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's a fun look. LSU women's games are always fun, but there's a little extra something for when you get to host the first 2 rounds. I was telling everybody last night I was there because the men used to do that. I was there in 1986, and that team went to a Final Four when Dale Brown and the Tigers hosted Purdue in Memphis in a famous game where a last-second shot. That's the loudest I've ever heard the PMAC when they beat Memphis. But yeah, I think one of the loudest games I ever heard was that 2022 against Jackson State.
That was a loud game.
First round game. That was rocking, and Jackson State came to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that was Kim's first year. And yeah, that was pretty much the first time I really experienced March Madness because we had COVID and then we didn't make it. But yeah, that was a very loud game, and that was a very close game too.
Yep. All right, everybody, hit that like button. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye, everyone.